The amateur alien hunters say the giant three-fingered hand must have either belonged to an alien or a giant humanoid. Although the UFO hunters have not had their claims verified by any serious scientific bodies, you've got to hand it to them, the creepy claw is quite the find. The team responsible for the discovery, who describe themselves as paranormal enthusiasts, say they uncovered the ancient appendage in Cusco, Peru. And they also claim to have found an elongated human skull near the dig site, which they say was in a desert in the South American country. Although they have refused to reveal the exact location where the sinister hand was discovered, the researchers say the finding was made in a system of underground caves. The unlikely discovery was then reportedly handed to Brian Forrester, a paranormal researcher in Peru. Alien investigator Brian allegedly had the item tested by a team of unnamed experts, who concluded that the fingers had too many bones for the hand to be human. The team also claimed that an X-ray verified that the hand was a genuine biological object, with the claw due to be sent to America for further testing. Although no independent tests have been run yet, the team believe that radiocarbon and DNA testing will reveal the true origin of the mysterious hand. Of course, this isn't the first alien artifact to raise eyebrows among the scientific community. Last year, conspiracy theorists claimed that a set of ancient Egyptian coins could be proof that an alien race visited Earth thousands of years ago.
This week has seen a spate of alleged UFO sightings, on Earth and across the solar system. Now, video footage has emerged of a flying object crashing into Anna Maria Island, in Florida. While CCTV cameras and dash cams captured this fireball hurtling to Earth on Monday, November 21, the footage went viral on Thursday, sparking reactions across the globe, with some even calling it an alien invasion. People who witnessed the fireball told local authorities that it crashed into the ground at a speed of 40,000 miles per hour. More than 150 people. Based in the heart of the Nevada desert, the military testing facility has been shrouded in intense secrecy since it was bought by the U.S. Army in 1955. Also known as Homey Airport and Groom Lake, the area is popular with conspiracy theorists who claim it's a base the Army uses to make contact with aliens. But a new Google time-lapse reveals the fascinating way the facility has evolved and changed over the years. The cool new Google feature allows you to see how the Earth has changed each year since 1984. At that time the remote base was largely cut off with few roads and infrastructure. But over the next 2 decades the base gets bigger and bigger as new buildings and passages appear. The original runway was made much bigger and a second one was also added as the base was developed. The highly guarded facility has always been fenced off from the rest of the world and the curious eyes of UFO boffins. They claim Area 51 is a hotbed for UFO sightings and the U.S. government is hiding the true purpose of the secretive land. An ex-soldier believes he was abducted by Area 51 agents who forced him aboard their alien aircraft. The facility has become a popular attraction for alien enthusiasts and tourists hoping to make contact with extraterrestrial life.
This is the Santa Catalina Channel, a 26-mile-wide stretch of the Pacific Ocean separating the city of Los Angeles from Catalina Island. According to experts, these waters, portions of which might be as deep as Mount Everest is high, may contain some of the world's darkest mysteries.
You are seeing an unidentified flying object. It is not a hoax. It is real. The film was taken by Leland Hansen while filming Catalina Island from a helicopter.
In recent years, escalating reports of unidentified submerged objects, or USOs, flying into and out of the channel have caused great concern to local residents and researchers.
The whole area here is just a huge hotbed of UFO activity. I've uncovered probably 200-300 cases of UFOs flying over the mountains and over the water here. It's just a huge hotspot.
Preston Dennett is the author of UFOs over California. He has been investigating USO activity in this area for almost 20 years.
Actually, there was a huge wave of sightings over the Santa Monica mountain range on June 14th, 1992. The witnesses counted a total of about 200 objects. What's interesting about this case is these objects came from below. Normally when someone sees a UFO, it comes out of the sky like a star. They see a star-like object and it comes swooping down. These came from below to above.
June 14th, 1992, 10:24 p.m. For almost 2 minutes, the waters of the Pacific Ocean explode with light as hundreds of bright, disc-like craft are witnessed flying out of the water together. Similar to other reports of USOs exiting the water, these craft emerge from the Pacific in almost complete silence. They reportedly hover for a moment before bursting into space. Reports of this incident were phoned into local police departments as far away as Malibu. The following is an actual call that was placed on that day.
Monster Sheriff Station. Did anyone report anything strange tonight? Can you be a little more specific? Strange. Lights. Lights? Yes. What exactly happened to you? I'm ashamed to tell you because I think you're going to think I'm crazy. We saw what we thought was a bright light up in the sky. Okay. We could hear. It wasn't a helicopter. I'm telling you, I have never been more frightened in my life.
According to Dennett, the incident was also reported to the U.S. Coast Guard sector in Long Beach, which ultimately declined the search request. This 1992 event was the second in Los Angeles in 3 years. On the dark, foggy morning of February 7th, 1989, scuba divers, boat sonar systems, and people on the shore witness a long, dark, unidentified craft dive out of the Pacific. For about 90 seconds, the USO rests just above the surface before emitting about a dozen smaller, fast-moving objects. 60 seconds later, the craft dives back underwater. Its last reported sonar heading was south toward the Santa Catalina Channel before it disappeared.
And it involved dozens of objects which were seen off the coast of Marina del Rey. On occasion, some of these craft would emit smaller craft, about 20 feet in diameter. And these were seen moving underneath the surface of the ocean, and they were coming in and out of the water.
As the 1947 incident at Roswell sparked worldwide curiosity about flying saucers, these events near Los Angeles have sparked a current wave of research into the capabilities and threats of so-called USOs.
The oceans of the world cover, 70% of the planet. They hide a lot of history and a lot of mystery.
There's a very good reason for a whole society of creatures, sentient creatures, advanced creatures living underwater because they can, because nobody goes there.
It's fascinating to think of the underwater UFOs because they know a lot about this planet that you and I don't know.
Unique to the USO phenomenon is the reported ability of these craft to multiply and break apart. One such astounding case has become known as the Golfo Nuevo event. On February 8, 1960, the Argentinian Navy is on alert as they track two unidentified submarine-like objects in its waters, thought to be American subs. Then, according to reports, the underwater objects are seen on sonar to break apart and fly out of the water.
Sonar contact, 173, 438 yards. News combat, sonar contact, 173, 438 yards.
Two gigantic submarines sighted by the Argentinian Navy in 1960 inexplicably multiplied into 6 other submarine objects. The Argentinians were never able to catch them or destroy them because the objects simply disappeared.
The case even caught the attention of the Soviet Union's most senior officials.
Nikita Khrushchev, who was the leader of the Soviet Union at the time, was so much intrigued by the whole story that he sent his diplomatic attaché in Buenos Aires to find out what's been going on.
While some researchers contend that these reported cases might be nothing more than military submarines firing torpedoes, others argue that submarines were not capable of firing 6 or more objects in 1960. Late USO researcher Ivan T. Sanderson's 1970 book, Invisible Residents, was the first to analyze the USO phenomenon. He reports on another remarkable example of USO behavior. In March 1963, the U.S. Navy submarine exercise is progressing as planned 100 miles off Puerto Rico. Suddenly, one Navy sub abruptly breaks from its assigned route after picking up an unidentified object traveling at speeds in excess of 150 knots. The submarines are astonished by the depth at which the unidentified craft is moving, 20,000 feet underwater.
It gave the acoustic signature of a single propeller type of motion through the water, and it was tracked at depths down to 20,000 feet, whereas a typical crush depth for a submarine would be 7,000 feet. So this thing, whatever it was exceeding the technical capabilities of submarines at that time and even today.
The vessel is tracked for almost 4 days by the entire carrier.
the clearance that I needed to do whatever it was that was necessary for me to do at the time on special operations when I was called in on those. What I'm referring to here is that I was involved in situations where we actually did recoveries of crashed saucers, for lack of a better term, debris thereof. There were bodies that were involved with some of these crashes, also some were alive. While we were doing all this, we were telling the American public there was nothing to it. We were telling the world there was nothing to it. But the whole situation is, we've set back, we've told the American people that there's no such thing as UFOs.
The say you told us you traveled, thousands of light years to get here. Yes. Tell us the truth or whatever you do.
I was at the White House with my family, and we were getting a tour, and Barack and Michelle and Sasha and Malia, nice. And it's me and Jada and the kids, and we're walking through the White House. And the night before, Jaden had said to me, "Dad, I got to ask the president about the aliens, I was like, dude, no, it's not cool. No, Barack is talking about this situation wrong." And Jaden says, "Excuse me, Mr. President." And I was like, "Hey, Barack, man, hey, listen, Jaden. And Barack said, "Don't tell me." And in perfect form, like, this is why he's the president, he stopped and looked at Jaden and said, "The aliens, right?" And I was like, oh, shoot. And he said, "Okay, I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of extraterrestrials."
This amazing footage was discovered by Scott C. Waring and posted to his blog UFO Sightings Daily. The video shows a large crowd of people recording a UFO flying over Guangzhou in China. In the video, a man and woman in a car come to a stop as they are heard saying it's a UFO in Chinese. The woman then says to get out and to record it.
I've been involved where we have recovered these objects we know them to be of extraterrestrials. In 1969, I had an event that happened to me while I was stationed at Fort Lee, Virginia. We went to Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania. That would be my first exposure to any time that we would be recovering an unidentified flying object. Later on, most people involved were to be told that there was nothing on board it. It was nothing more than just a crash of one of our aircraft. I know better, because I was one of the people that approached it with a Geiger counter to get surface readings. I was the first person to go ahead and see that there were bodies on it. That would be the first of approximately 12 events. UFO crashes are not events that take place every day. They're rare.
So I take it aliens took over our future, right? So you're human. Okay, so you evolved from us. So what are you doing here now?
The disclosure legacy, the president that makes, the first head of state that makes the announcement that the extraterrestrial presence is real is one of the greatest political legacies of all time. I don't care who you are, period. Right? You go down in history. For 1,000 years will be talked about. Right? That's the most profound event in human history, and you are the head of state that let it out, the one that brought the truth to the world. That legacy, that is a very desirable legacy, and they want it.
So you know how the universe is created? So you think God?
I know we're not alone in the universe. I know that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It's evidence that has been denied to the American people.
Great legacy. Nobel Prize, first black president.
Chump change. Chump change. First black president, how many black heads of state have there been before Obama entered the White House, right? His legacy as the first black president was over the moment he lifted his hand off the Bible at the inauguration, right? It's chump change. As far as some of the other stuff, nothing serious at all. This legacy is massive, right? And I assure you, it is incredibly desirable.
Illuminate us. What happens when we die? So, let me get this straight. There's no death, and we all experience each other's lives, right?
However, because you have just triggered the most profound event in human history, more profound than the coming of Christ. Supposedly, God sent his only son down to the earth, right, to bring a message to the people. And he comes down, and over a very long period of time, he sort of, actually a couple of years, he does his teachings, he gets crucified, and that sort of launches the Christian religion, which takes hundreds of years to develop and start affecting worldview. That was the Christ event, which has almost 2.2 billion followers. This event will affect thousands of times more people and do it in days. All right. In other words, the worldview of humans will be affected worldwide within a week because this event is that powerful. So it's much bigger than the Christ event. So if you think being Jesus Christ was a big deal,
the clearance that I needed to do whatever it was that was necessary for me to do at the time on special operations when I was called in on those. What I'm referring to here is that I was involved in situations where we actually did recoveries of crashed saucers, for lack of a better term, debris thereof. There were bodies that were involved with some of these crashes, also some were alive. While we were doing all this, we were telling the American public there was nothing to it. We were telling the world there was nothing.
The amateur alien hunters say the giant three-fingered hand must have either belonged to an alien or a giant humanoid. Although the UFO hunters have not had their claims verified by any serious scientific bodies, you've got to hand it to them, the creepy claw is quite the find. The team responsible for the discovery, who describe themselves as paranormal enthusiasts, say they uncovered the ancient appendage in Cusco, Peru. And they also claim to have found an elongated human skull near the dig site, which they say was in a desert in the South American country. Although they have refused to reveal the exact location where the sinister hand was discovered, the researchers say the finding was made in a system